Okay, this week was the WWE's annual draft, where they swap the rosters around a little bit. They have matches, and the winners of the matches win a random pick for their brand, and then we get someone randomised going over to their brand. The show started off with Cena moving from Raw to SmackDown, and then it ended with moving back from SmackDown to Raw. Both got massive pops, both felt like they meant something. It didn't really feel like WWE were messing us around. It meant like it was there for a reason, and it was there to like keep us entertained, keep us on the edge of our seats, like anything could happen. This year, I think they really worked the draft really well. A side little note that I just want to include here before I go on any further is the whole point of the draft split. There's two schools of thought. There's one that when they do a draft every year, that it's amazing because the rosters get mixed up and we get to see new matches the next year because everyone gets mixed around, and then that leads to new people facing new people. There's another school of thought that says, what's the point? Anyone can basically fight on any show. You just see it happen all the time, like Ziggler getting fired and moving over to Raw, Brodus Clay randomly turning up wherever he wants to with Alberto Del Rio, the tag team champions wandering around wherever they want. I'm sort of in between both camps. I think that when the draft does happen, the show is a really entertaining Raw, and it is quite exciting to see who is going where. But at the same time, I do understand the school of thought where people are saying, oh, it doesn't really matter because anyone could turn up anywhere. For this one night, it doesn't really bother me that much. I don't really think about that. I just think about the possible long-term feuds that can happen by moving this person to where. And I'm thinking, like, why they move certain people into certain places. One of the thoughts I had going into this was I thought they were going to move Sin Cara over to SmackDown because I'm a big supporter of Sin Cara. Just before I go any further, I'm sure you all know from seeing my video about a month ago about him, but he's been botching a lot on Raw, hasn't he? And to protect him, I think they do need to move him over to SmackDown, where they can edit the show and they can edit out any botches that he does do, just so they can get him over that little bit more. They've had him on Raw, they've had him on the Star Show, they've treated him like a superstar. I haven't seen him with Cena last week. Now it's time to put him over on SmackDown and let him make a name for himself in front of an international audience, or an international mainstream audience, should I say. So yeah, that was my main thought going into it, that they should do that, and then they did move him over. Then at the same time I was thinking they need to move Ray over to Raw because they can't have them both on the same brand, just because it won't work. They both work the same sort of gimmick. It's the babyface lucha, both have the same style. If you have two guys doing the same thing, then it makes it less special, so they need to separate them as much as possible. One on Raw, one on SmackDown. And they did that as well. Rey Mysterio was the first pick for Raw, along with the Big Show and Alberto Del Rio. Those three were moved over to Raw, and the three guys that moved over to SmackDown were Randy Orton, Mark Henry and Sin Cara. Thoughts on these are, well, I've told you my thoughts on the Rey Mysterio Sin Cara thing. That's the reason why I think that those two were swapped over, because to protect Sin Cara, because he has been botching, and this is a prime asset of theirs. I think it's nerves that are getting to him, because he does botch every now and then in Mexico when I saw him in the CML stuff, but not as much as he's been doing on Raw. He's been botching, he botched 5 times last week, didn't he, in the tag team match we've seen against Miz and Alex Riley. So yeah, having him over on SmackDown, they can protect him a little bit more. He shouldn't be as nervous because he's not on live TV, and hopefully that will benefit him. Who else have we got moving around? Big Show's gone over to Raw now. I don't know if they've got any plans for him. He's one half of the tag team champion, so it's kind of weird that they're moving him over to Raw and keeping his tag team partner over on SmackDown. But then again, it's the WWE tag team division. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Why do they even have this? Why do they even have these belts anymore? Don't know. If you have any idea, put them down here. If you do say tradition, then you're having a laugh, because it is not traditional what they're doing with the titles now whatsoever. Alberto Del Rio's been moved over to Raw. I think we all saw this one coming. They've been having him on both Raw and SmackDown for most weeks over the past 2 months, haven't they? Especially leading up to WrestleMania. It's quite clear that they're pushing Alberto Del Rio right down our throats. I'm a big fan of the guy, so I'm not too bothered. His in-ring stuff's not fantastic, but as a character he's brilliant. On the mic he's good as well. And the whole setup he's had with Brodus Clay and Ricardo Rodriguez, and coming out in the vintage cars, etc. It's a good little stick he's got. So yeah, I'm a fan of Alberto Del Rio. I'm looking forward to seeing him on Raw. And for me, he's probably the only reason to continue watching Raw. Well, apart from the obvious that it's a wrestling show, I'm a wrestling fan. Moving on to SmackDown, yeah, we had Mark Henry, who turned on Team SmackDown right at the end when it was him, Cena and Christian against Miz, CM Punk and Del Rio. Henry turned on both Cena and Christian, so we're going to see a heel run for Mark Henry, I'm guessing. Is it me, or does, trying to say this without being racist, because I'm not racist whatsoever, at least I don't think I am, that it seems to be turn all the black men heel month in WWE. They've turned R-Truth, and now they're turning Mark Henry. Who's next? They've those are the only two I can think of who get featured. Ezekiel Jackson's just been turning on the core, hasn't he? Kofi Kingston gets featured, but apart from that, yeah. I don't know why they're turning them both heel at the same time. Coincidence, probably. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I don't know. But yeah, Mark Henry moving over to SmackDown. We'll get a heel run, I think. Can I see him versus Christian in a title feud? I don't see that happening. I can't see that drawing. I can't see them thinking that would be good. So maybe Mark Henry would just be like the lower card heel, and we will dominate the little guys for a bit. Then get a main event rub, main event push even. Mumbling my words here, sorry. A main event push later on when there's a stronger champion, because I think Christian's going to win it obviously against Alberto Del Rio, seeing as it's him and Del Rio at Extreme Rules, and Del Rio's just been moved over to Raw, so it'd be logical for Christian to keep the title on SmackDown, win that. We'll all go crazy because we're all Christian marks on the YWC and the IWC and all that, and all the smart marks, etc, etc, and we'll all go mental for Christian, and then he'll lose the title to someone who I think with this next man, Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton's been moved over to SmackDown to be their main guy now. He's going to be their main face. With Undertaker having these long extended periods out, and with Edge having to retire, I think Randy Orton's going to be the key for the key face on SmackDown for the near future. Supplemental draft. We saw Jack Swagger being moved over to Raw. He's been on Raw and SmackDown a lot lately because he's been Michael Cole's little bum chum trainer, whatever you want to call him. Can I see them doing much with him? Not when you've got Alberto Del Rio on the same roster. I mean, Alberto Del Rio is your main heel. You don't need to put Swagger up there yet. Swagger is one for the future in my eyes. They need to do something with Swagger, but when you've got Alberto Del Rio at the moment, it's hard to say which one you'd push towards the main event scene, because you could give either the world title theoretically, but then you got Miz there as well, so, and CM Punk. There's a lot of heels, but a lot of people will complain about that. A lot of heels over on Raw. Kelly was moved over to Raw, so that should be amazing. I think she's just going to be there for cannon fodder, which I'll go into a little bit later on in this video. JTG, just that good, has been moved over to Raw. Now this is a massive move because I'm not going to lie, he's not going to do anything, is he? They're going to have him working Superstars matches and then fire him probably, so yeah, JTG, I don't see why they've included him in this draft. Maybe just to bulk it up a little bit, make it look good. Yeah, I'll move JTG over, like make it look like it's good because we're moving a lot of guys. Drew McIntyre being moved over to Raw, that's an interesting one. They made him look quite strong in the Battle Royal at the start of the draft show on Raw. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Drew McIntyre. Again, he's another heel. Maybe they could turn him face, I'm not too sure what they'll do with him, but yeah, I'm a fan of McIntyre. I think he's another one for the future, but only if they push him right. Kurt Hawkins has been moved over to Raw. He's not going to do anything much, is he? He's going to be featured on Superstars a lot in the Raw versus Raw matches, and that's about it. Chris Masters, more of the same like Kurt Hawkins, just moved over, just be a part of the Superstars clan for Raw. Kofi Kingston, I'm really surprised that they drafted him over to Raw, especially on the supplemental draft, because Kofi was made to look really strong in the draft as well. He won the Battle Royal, and then he was in a match against, I can't remember, I don't think he won the match, but yeah, he was, no, maybe he did, I can't remember, but he looked strong throughout the show, so yeah, props to Kofi Kingston and WWE to make him look good, but them moving him on the supplemental draft makes me think they're not going to do much with him, just because the main guys they move in the actual draft, and the supplemental one doesn't really mean that much, traditionally anyway. Tyler Rex, another monster heel who could be big in the future if they worked him right, or at least good for like a main event run to like feed to Cena, and then Cena would beat him if they did him right. But yeah, another young heel being moved over to Raw. Beth Phoenix, now this is an interesting one, especially with what I'm going to talk about later. So Beth Phoenix being moved over to Raw, that's going to be quite interesting. I think she's going to be the one to win the title off Brie Bella. Brie Bella's got it. I think she'll be the one to win it off Brie Bella, but I'm not too sure. Then on the SmackDown side of things, they got Daniel Bryan, which, now you had Daniel Bryan and Sin Cara, you had them on Raw. That was the reason for the wrestling fans to watch Raw, because they are two fantastic wrestlers. They moved them on to SmackDown, and now as a wrestling fan, when I want my 5 a day, when I want to see good wrestling matches, I'm going to want to watch SmackDown now rather than Raw. I know that used to be the case like back in the day, but ideally you want a bit of everything good on Raw. You want the superstars, you want the storylines, and you want the wrestlers. They just took that, theoretically their best 2 wrestlers, arguably even, not theoretically, arguably their best 2 wrestlers in Sin Cara and Daniel Bryan, and moved them over to SmackDown. So yeah, SmackDown have got the blokes now, haven't they? Great Khali's been moved over to SmackDown. Wicked, that's horrible. But at least I can fast forward through it, I suppose. So yeah, because I always fast forward through SmackDown. I'll watch Raw live, and then SmackDown I'll watch it afterwards. Obviously it's not live anyway, but yeah, I'll fast forward through it all. Jimmy and Jey Uso have been moved over there. Doesn't really matter if a tag teams aren't used, they'll just be used for superstars matches and whatnot. Alicia Fox has been moved over to SmackDown, again unimportant in the grand scheme of things. William Regal, I heard he'd retired, so I don't know what moving him over there makes any difference. Maybe they'll release him, or maybe not release him, but he'll be fed to Mark Henry or something, and Henry will retire him to build Henry up a little bit more. Yoshitatsu, again, I just think he's going to be fed to Mark Henry in all honesty. Natalia's been moved over there, so she's now out of the Divas title picture for a bit. Disappointing really, she's one of my favourite Divas. Ted DiBiase moved over to SmackDown. Maybe he can do something with Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes is going to be getting over big. I think he's going to hopefully fully go over Rey Mysterio at Extreme Rules. Seeing as Rey's gone over to Raw now, so he doesn't really need to beat Cody at Extreme Rules. Get the young guy over. Tyson Kidd's been moved over to SmackDown. Again, nothing important. He'll just be there for superstars matches. Tamina's been moved over there. They've kept her with the Usos, which is quite strange. Maybe they probably do travel together, don't they? And so whatever. Alex Riley moved over to SmackDown. That was a really interesting one. Why would they move Alex Riley over to SmackDown? He's the Miz's guy. He's out with the Miz at all times. Is the Miz going to lose the title? I think it'd be a bit weak to just take Riley off him and then for him to lose the title. So he's probably going to keep the title for a bit longer. But this might be Miz breaking out as, now I can do it by myself. I don't need Riley with me anymore. But they're a really good partnership, and I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy Riley anymore. Now he's not with Miz. And finally, Sheamus moved over to SmackDown, and he's taken with him the United States title and his little feud with both Sin Cara and Daniel Bryan. So that's going to be some really interesting stuff. I would like to see a triple threat match between the 3 of them. That would be excellent. Maybe not on Extreme Rules, but whatever the next pay-per-view is, Over the Limit, whatever they call the next one. But yeah, that is the draft. What did you think of the WWE Draft? I'm thinking it's going to be quite good, in all honesty. It's going to be quite good. It has been quite good, and I'm looking forward to what's happening next. Obviously, Raw is on today. Is today Friday? I think today is Friday. Sorry, it's the Easter holidays. I've lost track of all days. I just got back off tour at the start of the week, so yeah, my head's in a bit of a fuzz still. I don't really know what's up and what's down. But yes, that was the WWE Draft. Those are my thoughts on it. I would like to know what you think, so please write it down here. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button up there. And yeah, with that, I'm out. Thank you for watching, and please tune in next time. See you later. Bye.